Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for technical problems and that you waited for 20 minutes. So I think we will be fast and we'll have everything done during this 40 minutes. If no, we will try to fix that. Today we're going to talk more about use of English. And I want us to check what is the agenda for today. So we're going to talk about structure of use of English, some tips of use of English, how to use them, and how to use time effectively. And we will, of course, practice with you. And Today, we will work with all of these strategies, and if you have any questions about use of English, please let me know in the chat. I can see that we have a lot of people here. That's nice. So I think we will have a productive session today. Let's quickly recap with you the structure of NMT use of English. So the first task is checking vocabulary task. There you can see that we will have a text and we'll have a text and 5 different questions. I can see that you say that you don't hear me. Tell me please, what about now? Good. So, the first task is checking vocabulary. Next one is checking grammar task. There you have the same text and 5 questions. Here you need to choose the correct option. So you can see that we have only 2 tasks related to use of English. But let's talk more about the key points that we have in this use of English part, because you can see it is small, but there we have a lot of questions that are related to grammar and vocabulary. So first of all, as I said, we are going to talk more about grammar, vocabulary, and fixed expressions. So as the example of grammar topics, there will be verbs, tenses like I have been studying or I studied, conditionals, passive voice, reported speech, and there you can see some examples. So when we are talking about conditionals, we may have with you mixed conditionals, or as we can see in the example, it is a third conditional. When we're talking about passive voice, you need to remember how to make it correctly. And when we are talking about reported speech, we will have with you one task about it. You need to understand how to make this order of the sentence correctly to make reported speech, like to have this reported speech. If we're talking about vocabulary, there we will talk more about collocations, so some fixed phrases like make a decision or do a decision. So as we know, do a decision is not correct, so we need to say make a decision, and this is our fixed phrase. Also, we will talk about phrasal verbs such as give up, put off, take after, and word transformations like happy, happiness, decide, decision. You will ask me why we need it, because there, when we have with use of English, we may have with you 4 different options with 4 different parts of speech. And you need to remember how to make, for example, a verb out of noun, a noun out of verb, and etc. And the last, it's idioms. So I think it's clear that you need to know the meaning of these idioms to make them correct, to have the meaning that is needed in the text. So now I want us to take a look at the task and analyze what kind of like a topic of a vocabulary we have here. So there we can have phrasal verbs. We have got words with similar meanings, some synonyms maybe, or just words that may be used in these gaps. So let's take a look at the first question, where we have carry, include, keep, and move. So in this way, we can see that these words are related to words with similar meaning. For example, we can move, for example, people, or we can carry people. So there we have some words that have similar meaning, but they are different depending on the context. Question 24, there we have lastly, eventually, exactly, absolutely. I think you know what it is. These are adverbs. So here we can see the words that are related to adverbs. So we will check with you adverbs. Considered, written, hoped, and promised. Here you may see that there we don't have any words that have similar meaning, but there we just check our vocabulary. Do you know what these words mean? Do you know the difference between promise, for example, and hope? When we're talking about question 26, there we have take up, take out, take off, and take away. So you can see that we have words take and different prepositions. So there we choose collocation and how this preposition changes the meaning of our word. And the last, it's trouble, concerns, danger, and risk. You may understand that there we will talk about some synonyms. So as you can see, in this task, just we had 5 questions, but these 5 questions just checked us how we remember adverbs, how we remember our collocations, different synonyms, and our knowledge of vocabulary. So there I will check, you can check what are the answers for this task. We won't discuss it for now. So now I want us to talk more about the why is use of English so difficult and so challenging. As you could see, the tasks require really solid knowledge of grammar and vocabulary. So if you don't remember a lot of words, or you don't know a lot of words, or you are not sure about different grammar structures, these tasks might be difficult for you, as your knowledge is kind of like not full, and you need to learn more to have a better result. Of course, when we will talk more about strategies, you will see that some tasks may be done in an easy way, but I, of course, would recommend you read more, learn more grammar and words for you to make sure that you know everything that may be at NMT. So, let's talk more about tips for use of English and how we can make this process, these tasks easier for us. And the first tip that I have for you, it is use context clues. Of course, when we are talking about use of English, we don't really need the details of the text as we had in the reading part. We need to have just small part of context that will help us to understand what word we should put here. So for this, you need to read the whole sentence before deciding on the answer. So there, you need to pay attention to the linking words, pronouns, and verb tenses. So here, we may see with you an example of the task. We are working on the question 31, so please pay attention to it. And there we have with you 4 variants: will allow, would allow, allows, and has allowed. According to the strategy that I gave you, your task will be to check pronouns, verb tenses, and linking words. There, we don't actually need linking words. Yeah, we don't need them for now. But we talk about Iron said it. So first of all, we need to check that this we have pronoun it. That so we don't need, for example, words have, allowed, or some other words that are related to pronouns, for example, they, we, and etc. Also, we need to pay attention that here we already used iron said, right? So here we may understand that it is reported speech. So let's check what answer is correct. If we have reported speech for the word will allow, yeah? So what should we put here? What is the correct answer? You may think. So when we are talking about this question, the correct answer will be B, because here we have got with your reported speech. And as you know, we need kind of have a step back when we are talking about reported speech. So will allow won't be correct because we will have would allow. So we need, if we had future simple in direct speech, we need to change it into would. So we cross it. Allows. We had to change into allowed because present simple can't be used in reported speech, and the same with has allowed. Present perfect should be changed into past perfect, so to had allowed. So according to these questions, would allow will be correct. So don't forget about this rule for reported speech. So also, one more really useful tip for you is asking questions. Especially when you are not sure about the answer, some questions may be helpful to understand or kind of like to cross out the incorrect options. And when we are talking about grammar questions, these questions may be like that. When does the action happen? In the past, present, or future? So for you to understand what tense should be used, at least the tense like past, present, or future. Maybe there will be simple, continuous, perfect, but you already know the tense when the action happens. Next one, is the action completed or still continue? So if the action is completed, we know that it is, for example, simple, yeah? But if it's still continuing, we know that it is continuous, continuous tense. Next, are there time indicators in the text? So there, I remind you that time indicators, time markers, as we call them, are really necessary to pay attention to because they may help you to understand what tense should be used there. For example, it could be yesterday, it was since 2021, and etc. So they may help you with this task. And the last, does the verb have auxiliary or helping verbs? For example, when we're talking about such words as didn't do or hasn't done, so there you need to pay attention to this helping word and how to make it correct. When we are talking about vocabulary, of course, we need to understand what part of speech is needed in our gap. And for that, you can use such questions. Does it describe an action? So if it describes an action, we may understand that it is an adverb, for example. Does it describe a noun? So if the answer is yes, we can understand that it is an adjective. Does it connect or contrast ideas? Sometimes you have some linking words that you need to put in the gap, and you need to understand whether two parts of the sentence connect, like add each other, or we want to have some contrast. For example, however, although, or but. You can understand that there we have a contrast. or we need to have like besides, in addition, and etc. So there is very nice question to ask when you have some linking words. And what is the grammatical function of this word? Why do we need it? Why do we use it here? What is the topic of the what is the meaning of it, and why do we use it in this gap? So we will work with these questions more, but let's take a look at the examples. So let's take a look at the question that I asked myself when I have a test. What is the exact meaning of the word? There we have got with you two words, discover and invent. I'm sure that you know these two words, but let's take a look at them. So Columbus discovered America. So do I want to say that this is something new that this person created? Or did he just find something that already exists? So if my question is that this person just found something that has already exist, I need to use discover. But when I want to talk about something that was new, I will use invent, such as Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. So your task here to understand the exact meaning of the word. Next question is it a noun, verb, adjective, or adverb? So I would like us to check the word, like the two examples, and there we have the new law will affect many people. So there we can understand that this word is a verb, because after will we should of course put a verb. So it means like to influence something, right? And when we have the second example, there we have the new law had a big effect on people. So a big what? A big kind of like result, a big influence, and etc. So there after big, if we had gap, you will use this word, yeah, not the first one. So here we have the second example. The third question, is there a fixed phrase that sounds natural? So as I told you before about making decisions or doing a decisions, you should remember that we have a fixed phrase that means make a decision and, for example, do homework. So we don't make homework, we always do it. And you just need to remember such words, such collocations that are fixed and we can't change them. Next one is this word used in informal or informal situations. For example, terminate and end. Just not looking at these sentences, I think that you may understand that terminate is the word is formal, yeah? We don't usually say that my lesson terminates at 5 p.m. No, we say my lesson ends. So there you need to understand what is the situation that is described in the text. And if you have some formal text, maybe some article or some formal letter, you will use terminate. For example, they decided to terminate the contract. There we have, of course, with you formal situation. But the movie ended at 10 p.m., there we have informal, neutral situation when, for example, I don't know, friends are talking with each other. So in this case, we just asked with you some questions and they helped us to choose the correct answer. And also, I said some words about word formation. One I said about choosing the correct option out of four, for example, parts of speech. And when we are talking about parts of speech, there I created for you some kind of like helpful table for with suffixes that are used for verbs, adjectives, and nouns. So if you need this table, you can take a screenshot, make a picture, and just use it when you work with text. Of course, we may have different variants for that. This is not kind of like a magic pill for you not to learn adjectives, nouns, and verbs, but they may help you to understand what kind of part of speech you have. For example, when we are talking about verbs, we have with you such suffixes as -y. Simple, so we have simple, simplify, or aid, activate, motivate. If we're talking about adjectives, we have words like os, dangerous, or if, active, or able, so comfortable, accessible, and etc. So there, I would say that this tool can be helpful for you, and you may use it just to learn new words. Now, I want us to work more with one more tip. But before, I want us to have one task related to parts of speech. So, as you can see, here we have with you 4 parts of speech. Safety, that is a noun. Save as a verb. Safe as an adjective. And safely as an adverb. Let's choose the correct option for question 39. What do we need here? So there, we are talking about camera, but what kind of camera? We have good camera for, safety. So there, you may think that you need to use, for example, C, but when we translate, we won't have safe camera. It is some camera that, for example, is kept in some safe place, so she's in safety. But you need to make it that it will be used for safety of some, I don't know, for some car or etc. So there, we need to choose with you safety. Safety camera. So it is camera for safety of something. I can see your variants. Let's remember that we need to talk more about, there we talk about a noun that became an adjective, because there we need to kind of like to make it less. We have, for example, a lesson of math, but we say math lesson. There we have the same. We had camera for safety, safety camera. So just to remember about this rule. Okay. Now I want us to talk about one more tip, and this is cross out 100% incorrect options. Why did I choose this tip for you? Because when the panic is growing, when the anxiety is growing, your task is to really focus on this task and cross out the variants that are totally incorrect. Because when you have 4 variants, you have you may think about a lot of options. Your task is to focus at least on 2 variants that are possible. But when you cross out these options, you have to justify why this option is incorrect, why you think it's incorrect. So you can't say, okay, I don't feel like that. No, you need to understand, for example, when we have with you the sentence about the sun, we have stands, grows, rises, and climbs. What two options can we cross? We can cross, for example, grow, and we can cross climb, because the sun can't do it literally, yeah? Climb or like make it or when we talk about grow, it means that it gets bigger. But there we don't talk about it. We talk that the sun is like going up upwards. So there you can see yeah, that D is totally incorrect, and also B and D, yeah. So we already have with you stands and rises. So we already have with you two options to work with. So as you can see in your answers, you chose C, and this is totally correct, because the same stands, we can do it literally, yeah? We can stand up, but the sun can't do it. The sun only rises. So please remember, we need like to make our life easier. We need to cross out incorrect options, but with with a real reason why we chose that. If you can't explain that, don't cross it out. If you can explain why you cross it out, then you can do that. And I think we need to sum up our tips. So first of all, you need to use the context. You need to take a look at the text. If you even need to read it, it's better to read, like to understand the general idea, to check what is the correct option. So it's fine if you need this time. It's better to be aware of the text instead of like messing up all of these questions and don't understand what you need. Asking questions. If you are not sure, if you don't remember one word, if you don't remember the meaning of all the phrasal verbs, of course, it can happen. Everyone may forget some words. So, but when you ask questions, you like go dive deeper in your knowledge, dive deeper in the understanding of the context, and that can help you to choose the correct option. When you ask questions, you can kind of like explain to yourself why you chose that or this. And the last that we talked about is crossing out the incorrect options, but with explanations why we chose this or that option. So when we are talking about it, I want us to take a look at this task, and let's discuss what should we do not to waste our time. As you can see here, we have got with you 6 variants, 6 questions. We have got 4 variants for each question, so it is kind of like similar to an empty task. What would I say? What would I do if I had this type of text in my real life? First of all, I would read the title. So starting Black Bear, so we can understand that this text is about animals. It is about black bears. So and I would also think what I can know about them, what word I would use to talk about them. So if you don't know anything about black bears, it's fine. You already understand what is the main topic of our text. After that, if you need, it is an optional question. It is an optional task. You need to read the text. You need to quickly read the text and catch the main idea of the topic. So there we can see that the biologist likes bears and doesn't think that they are scary. And now we are moving to the questions. So there we have got with you variants. catch, win, achieve, and receive. So let's discuss this. When we are talking about this question, we can see that there we have got with you such words as catch way, win way, and achieve, and we have had to catch, had to win, achieve, and receive. And we have with you trust. So can we win trust? Can we catch trust? Can we achieve? So you need to think about these variants and think what is the better option here. When you start to like just looking at the examples, you need to choose one and go like if you don't remember all of these words, for example, you don't know, do we catch trust or do we win trust? You just need to choose one and go to the next question. So this will be your part of the text where you don't want to waste a lot of time. When you don't know the question, try to skip it and then return to it when you, for example, finish this task. But don't just keep the questions unanswered. It's better to choose something that you are not sure about in the end, but don't just keep it like without answer. Try to answer at least anything. Who knows what you will choose. But don't do that with all of the text. Of course, rely on your knowledge. Next step, what I would do is question number 2, yeah? We have got perception, awareness, insight, and vision. So here we have got some kind of like new, yeah, knowledge about this bias and the behavior of this bias. So you need to read it one more time, and you think that the insight of this has given him into behavior, has allowed him to dispel certain myths about bias. So he found something new, and we know that insight into their behavior, it sounds good, and let's choose it for now. If you are not sure, you keep it. And then we have with you question number 3. We have got opposite, opposed, contrary, contradictory. So we know that in this case, we start our sentence with the word contrary. So we know such word, we know such linking word, linking phrase, and you need to say contrary to popular belief and move on. So you already know the answer. Then we've got with you next step. The same. You need to choose 2 options and then check whether they are correct or no. If you don't feel like it is a 100% correct sentence, correct variant, you keep it. But the same, ask yourself questions, ask about the meaning of the sentence, of the words that we have, and make this process easier to understand their context. And after you did all of this stuff, when you analyze the text, when you analyze the questions, you spent like 3 minutes for this task. But you have some idea what you chose and why you chose that or this or that variant. So don't waste your time when you don't know the answer. Of course, you can have such situations when you know all the answers, but be ready that at some point of the task, you may not know, for example, the word, I don't know, disputes, or, for example, awareness. You don't know what it is. Just keep it and analyze other variants, and check whether they are true or false. So for me not to speak a lot, I want us, of course, to practice. I want us to talk more about questions and how to ask them and how to use all the strategies that we talked about today. And let's practice now, and let's take a look at the first task. There we have got with you the task from some NMT. So that is the task that was already, and I want us to check it. And let's begin with the first sentence. There we have with you the topic of salads, so we may understand that our text will be about food and cuisine. So you already remember this. And we don't want, for example, to read the whole text. And we are starting with the first question: items, pieces, units, and ingredients. So we already know that this is the text about salad, and for sure we have got with you some topic that is related to the food. Items is not related to the food. Pieces, maybe, but no. Units. We don't think so that units can be used for salad. And ingredients. So we already have ingredients, yes, and items. So we cross out pieces and units. Now, we need to choose the correct options. Of course, when we are talking about salads, we will use with you ingredients, because there we are talking about ingredients of the salad. Now, we are going to move on to the next sentence, and there we have: it is widely reported that the cuisine, meal, dish, or course was firstly cooked. So please tell me, what is the correct answer here? How can we understand what the correct answer is? So there we are talking about salad. We don't talk about some general dishes of our of some country. We don't talk about breakfast, like some meal that we eat, yeah, breakfast, dinner, and etc. We don't talk about the same. We don't talk about some set of dishes. We talk about a dish, and that will be C. That is correct. What about 41? There we have with you explained, questioned, demanded, and asked. So there we have got with you the question that this salad was the topic, yeah, of invention of the salad was explained, or questioned, demanded, or asked by. So if the person, some people think that it was invented by the American restaurant, but other people think something else. So what can it be here? Mm-hmm. So there, we of course need to use question, because some people think in one way, but some question like, why do you think so? Because I know, yes, that Karini's brother Alex says that it was he. So his family doesn't understand that point of view because they think in another way. Karini's brother Alex says it was he, an ex-pilot, who discovered, we already had these words with you, invented, thought, or found the salad. Mhm. So when we are talking about creating something new, as we already discussed, we need to use with you invented. So he created the salad, so he invented it. And the last we have, which was the name of the restaurant. It was firstly, so served in, supplied in, carried or provided. So we understand that this restaurant, yeah, cooked this salad. So what is the variant? Supplied, we can't say because we don't have such word for dish. Carried, the same. We don't move it anywhere. We don't carry it. Provide, maybe what we need to say provided with at least, not in. So we are talking about dish, yes, and we need to use served because it is served in this restaurant. Okay, so here you can see that when we ask questions, that is not so difficult. When we cross out the variants the same, we have less variants and we have less, I don't know, less thoughts about this, and we can choose the correct variant easier and not spending a lot of time. So let's have with you one more task, and then we will talk more about grammar. And we are going to talk about one artist. So let's start with you with the first question. And there we have with you 4 options. Such, any, no, and some. As I said before, we need to use context clues. What does it mean? We need to find with you some variants, some words that can help us. So for us, in this variant, we need to pay attention to the word cannot, and actually that is something that we need, yeah? If we have cannot, we need to cross some variants. Cannot be used with some, with no. So we have variants such and any. We are talking about one work of art. And such we can't use with such work of art. It means that we need to use any. So he can see no work of art. So he was blind, yeah? So now we are going to the next task, and we have got with you becoming one of a most famous, more famous, much famous, and the most famous. So there we are talking about superlative form of the verb, or of the adjective, I'm sorry. So how should we make our superlative form of the adjective? I think you know that it is the most plus adjective in its first form, without any other endings. 51. There we have with you millions of, millions, million and million of. Let's see what we should put here. I can see that you chose D, or maybe that is the answer for another for the previous question. So let's wait a little bit. So when we are talking about numbers, we need to remember that we need to use variant C. Yeah, we can say, for example, he sold millions of records, but when we already have some exact number, we need to say million without any preposition. I have million, I don't know, dollars, for example, on my account. So when I have one exact number, for example, I don't know, I have done 100 or 200 tasks. We don't need of. But when we want to say that there was a huge amount of something, we say millions of, thousands of, hundreds of. Okay, number 52. And the word that can help us to use our context, as we remember, there will be the word once. when we talk about this person, we understand that we are talking about him in the past. So we can cross out sings and has sung. And we have with you D, that is the third form of the verb, and A, that will be past simple. And we can understand that it is sang. So he did it only once in his past. So we don't need any connection to the present. We don't need any he doesn't do it like every day. So it can't be used in present simple. So we need to choose A. And the last one will be would sound, sounded, will sound, and sounds. There, in our context, we can see the word said. So Celine Dion said that, so we can understand that here we use with you a conditional sentence. If God had a singing voice, he, if it is had, we need to understand it is second conditional, and there we need to have would sound. So to use it in second conditional correctly. Okay, as I can see in the chat, you answered correctly. That is great. So now I think we can sum up with one more task. And here we will also have with you grammar task. So please pay attention to the time markers, to the times in which this sentence is used, and some context clues if you need. And if you need to ask questions, sure, you can do that. And we are going to start with you with question 54. For the past 2 months, animal trainer Mark with 3 dogs to drive. If we use the strategy of asking questions, we need to start with what? Is this action in the past, in the future, or in the present? We may understand that it started in the past, because for the past 2 months, but it is still continuing. So we have with you some action that started in the past and still is happening in the present. So here we may understand that there we need to use with you present perfect continuous. So because we have some duration of time that and the action started in the past. What about 55? Here we have clear, to be cleared, be clearing, and to clear. Let's see what we should use here. So there, the lessons were meant to do something. And your task here is to understand whether these lessons did this action by themselves or somebody or they were done by somebody else. So the lessons were meant to clear up stereotypes about rescue dogs. So so we don't need to be cleared. So the lessons shouldn't be cleared. So somebody doesn't do that for these lessons. So these lessons should kind of help, yeah, to break up stereotypes about rescue dogs. Okay, what about 56? We have got with you has been abandoned, has abandoned, were abandoned, and abandoned. We are talking about animal. So we take a look at the task where we need to use with you we need to ask whether it is about he, she, it. So we need to take a look for the pronoun that we may use for this and cross out the options that can be not correct. If we're talking about animal, we can't say with you were abandoned for sure. So we cross it out. And you know that animals and the word abandoned means that abandoned it is left, yeah? So this animal somehow maybe was left or has been left. Okay. So there we need to choose with you A because that happened in the past. Like this animal was left like has been abandoned for some time, and that was kind of like a result for the present. That's why we need to use was you has been abandoned instead of, for example, has abandoned, because that animal was left by somebody, not he just left and that's all. I can see the question. So has been teaching should be used in the 54 because there we have with you for the past 2 months. If we had with you Mark, this trainer was doing something for I don't know for a year from 2021 to 2022, so that the action started and finished in the past during some time, yeah. So and we don't have any result right now, then we will use was teaching. But there we have action started in the past and it is still going on. So let's move on and take a look at 57. There we already work with parts of speech activation. Noun activate. That is a verb, actively adverb, and active adjective. So there we are talking about driving a car. And we have a question. Does this word describe an action or a noun? So there, we need to understand the correct answer will be there will be actively. So we drive a car how? Actively. Okay, good job. And the last question for now. It is checking of your modal verbs, how you remember the difference of them between them. So we have dog adopters that you ought teach, can teach, must or will. So here ought can't be used because we use ought with to, ought to teach, yes. Can, maybe, must, possible as well, and will, if we are not talking about any promises, any future, so there we can cross it out because we don't use it here. And there the correct answer will be can, as here we have that you can teach an old dog new tricks. So it's possible, yes, to teach an old dog new tricks. So it's all in your hands. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, while doing this task, I asked questions, I crossed out some variants, and I used context a lot. So please, when you talk about when you work with use of English, try to work with the questions and with the context at the same time. And when you have enough practice, these questions will be asked automatically. So you won't need to, for example, to voice them. You will just work in your head and analyze it. But for now, when you have some free time, try to maybe write them somewhere, or maybe just work with your, I don't know, friend and talk about with them about this question. How did you choose this question? Why did you choose this answer? For you to analyze this task and check the patterns, really check the patterns of the tasks. Because at NMT, they are mostly the same, but you just need to catch them. And my reminder for you is, of course, to take a look at the article that Green Country has prepared. There you can check more tips on preparation. You can write something new for you, find something new. And don't forget to do tasks regularly and work with both use of English and reading. So the next time we are going to talk with you about grammar. So today we talked like in general way about grammar tasks. But next time we will talk more about specific tasks, specific topics. So please keep in mind that our next webinar will be on the next week on the 4th of April at 5 p.m. So I hope you liked this webinar, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to read all of them. If not, thank you very much, and see you next time. So bye bye.